59J, Neko 9. Let's go. Yeah.
I'm sideways in a bucket ducking 5-0. Homie, are you down the ride?
Yo, what's good with everybody, man? I hope everybody's having a productive day, feeling blessed, and like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. So with that being said, man, I'm having a great time at my job. They're teaching me how to use a forklift and get me certified on 2 different forklifts. I learned how to use a crane. Man, this is like real man's job, man. I look forward to it. I look forward to my growth, man, and making some very good money for my family. So I'm glad you guys were asking me about it. But let's get into the video. So with that being said, hit that subscribe button, hit that like, always leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Check the links in the description for my Apple and Spotify music. Go ahead and run my streams up. And you can check out my playlist section on my YouTube channel and check out my music right there. Thank you guys for you guys' time. Most importantly, thank you guys for you guys' support. So, man, there was a filter that got put out. And they do reference particular YouTubers. Well, I know when I got the filter, they were like, hey, bro, they're pretty much talking about you and all the stuff you're talking about because you talk about these particular subjects and they're trying to discredit you to the manpower, which is a trip, right? Because I can't read the filter to you verbatim on the basis that they wrote the filter 3 different ways. Each one has the same, all of them have the same message, but each one is phrased a little bit different. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to narrow it down as to which regimen is providing me with information and I'm making YouTubes about them. Along with other people too. They're trying to put a lot of the manpower under scrutiny, who's giving us the information, you know, checking certain things on their phones. People are getting investigated because we're talking about it. And I do understand that. But on the same token, it's not like I go out there, in my personal opinion, I don't go out there looking for the information. I get a lot of messages on Instagram, phone calls, text messages, emails. But I got some info for I want you to talk about, man. Shed light to it, bro, you know, and give your positive message. You know, it's offered to me, and I take these opportunities to share it with you guys for the growth of the channel, the monetary gain, the message, the overall, it happens, and I bring it to your guys' attention. So they felt the need to bring the filter up and address certain things that I talked about. They don't reference my name, so to speak, but they call us PC Nortenos. So I can't read it to you verbatim because then I would just show like, all right, man, we sent these specific words since they're watching us in prison to this regimen. Now we're going to target this regimen. And, you know, I can't do that. But at the same time, I was given this information to talk about to you guys. So I got to do my job. So for one, they call us PC Nortenos. So obviously that's how they're addressing us to the manpower. Obviously, they're taking a big concern and worry that a lot of YouTubers that are talking about Nuestra Familia politics and all the latest update, I'm pretty sure they're mad as hell. Like, bro, how the hell are they getting this information, bro? We just put that out last night, bro. It hasn't even left the building yet. How did they get it? Yeah, I can see why they would get mad. But they got to start seeing it from not just their perspective. They're like got tunnel vision. They're one-sided. They only see it one way. Hey, what we say is law, what we say goes, and they're gonna do what we say, and they're gonna listen to us, and they're not gonna question us. That's it. Our word is final. We are the law. But they don't look at it like the manpower sees it from a different perspective because they're not leadership. They're the ones that are being told what to do. They're the followers. They're the ones that are starting to see the manipulation and the deception tactics that are being implemented on them. They're starting to see how they're being utilized. They're starting to see how they're being discarded as, you know, just thrown away trash. So they bring it to our attention. And I never understood why, you know, they were utilizing YouTubers to provide this information to the public. But like, I sit there and think about it, like maybe they just want more manpower to catch wind of these YouTube videos since we're willing to talk about it. And people can start opening their eyes, as people can start making a stance or at least resisting or at least talking back, addressing matters. Or just find themselves in a predicament where, look, man, it happened over here. It could happen to you. Try to avoid it. And this is their way of looking out for each other, since their leadership and their big homies could care less about what goes on and how the way they think and how they feel. So they bring it to our attention. So I don't see nothing wrong with what we're doing. The first subject is about the situations that was going on with the blacks and the Southerners. And the NF made it a point and put out a filter like, man, as Norteños, we have no alliances with the Southerners or the blacks. That is not our problem. But yet these PC Norteño YouTubers are pretty much talking about it to try to instigate situations, or we're giving our, some of us gave us our personal opinions to you guys. Like, look, man, if I was still a Northerner, or the Northerners should have did this, or that's crazy that the Northerners didn't do that. This whole peace treaty and this alliance, we were led to believe this. We thought this. There was a lot of if and ands, but if and ands were pots and pans, we all be in the kitchen, right? But it was YouTube, it's entertainment, it's educational information. We all have a purpose and meaning behind what we do, and we shared it with you guys. But I can say in none of my older videos, I didn't want nothing to happen. I didn't want Northerners to get involved. And now, first of all, I didn't even want Northerners to be preyed upon or even get put in situations that belong to other people to get hurt. But I wasn't speaking for the Northern faction. I just looked at it like, man, it looks like a race war. I just hope it doesn't become a race war, because race wars, I think, are a lot more dangerous than internal wars, than North and South going at it, or North and Bulldogs going at it, or Southerners and Bulldogs going at it. Those wars are a little bit different and could be resolved a lot easier, because it's just a political game. It's between two different gangs that want to act hard, that want to be better than each other, that look down on each other as inferior. But when it becomes race wars, those kind of affect the streets. When it becomes race wars, there's a different hate. And we're already dealing with systematic racism as it is, that's done by the system. And then when we play into it and hurt each other, it does a lot more severe damage than two gangs fighting each other. I guess you could say I just never been a firm believer or even acknowledge the fact that some people are racist and there's race wars that take place. I hate the concept of race war. I hate when I see a black and white go at it. I hate when I see Mexicans and blacks go at it, or Mexicans and whites going at it, because there's a different form of resentment and grudge that's left behind, as opposed to, man, I went at it with these Southerners, I went at it with these Bulldogs. Man, that's what I've been doing my whole life. This other one was crazy. It talks about Norteños in Sacramento getting involved in street politics with the blacks. And they're addressing it like, man, if you guys are Norteños, you guys do not need to be getting yourselves involved. No neighborhood in what blacks politics, or blacks fighting other blacks and black gangs going at it. Which I've seen since before the big homies ever walked the yard. Homies from Sac are different. For one, they don't even acknowledge the regiment. For two, they don't even care about the big homies. For three, Sacramento has its own mind frame. They gangbang a lot different. Sacramento, Stockton, small other little cities, they don't give a damn about what prison politics got to do with the streets. They do what they got to do. So it's a trip, right? Because this rapper right here, one of his songs, you got to go listen to his music. He says it in the intro. Like, I love my homies from Sacramento, man, but you need to stay in your own lane, man. Stop getting involved in these black politics. The same filter I'm reading right here that the NF put out, he put it in the song and addressed that issue.
Somewhere. I ain't been nowhere, but I know where I stand. Man, know your position, man. Stay in your politics. Quit jumping in these other folks' politics, acting like that's your shit. You Mexican, remember that. Salute to my black brothers, man.
I have the pleasure.
Obviously, they're trying to take control of Sacramento. Obviously, they don't want homies from Sacramento getting involved in black politics because, black politics belong to black politics. But you can't tell the homies from Sac that, because Sacramento's a different environment. They beef hood to hood to hood. And if this hood beefs with this hood, but they're cool with this hood, they say, you know what, we're going to take it with them. Homies in Sacramento love to gangbang. That's the idea of gangbanging. They're just beefing on street political beefs. Not prison beefs, not prison politics, just street beefs. But they're addressing it. They're pretty much saying it's becoming a big problem, and that the homeboys from Sacramento need to get it together and just stay in their own lane and know what they really are, that they're Norteños. So I think it's a way to say, you know what, we don't want you guys gangbanging, but we guys want you to do what we want you to do. And I think the homies from Sacramento are like, bro, we're going to live the way we live out here. But it pretty much says that a lot of homies from Sacramento are actually beefing with other Sacramento gangs, other Sacramento Norteños, and that when they come to prison, they're hiding behind these black gangs, that they're not going to hide in the system behind these black gangs, that they will be targeted. And just because you're under the Norteño label, that Norteño identity is not going to protect you, and it's not going to stop us from handling you, whacking you off the yard, if you're out there on the streets beefing with other Norteños and siding up with black gangs to beef with Norteños. So that's become a big concern to these guys, right? So I'm like, okay, I get that part. But like I said, Sacramento's mentality, so as long as I can remember, every homie I met from Sac, man, they got crazy hood stories about beefing with this hood, beefing with that hood, over this, over a check, over a sack, over some rims, over some speakers. He didn't wire them right, and his speakers sounded weird, and they blew out. You know, they beef for anything, bro. Them homies from Sacramento, they want a reason to pick up a gun. That's a crazy environment to live in. And obviously, they bring up the Varia warfare again when it comes to Nortenos in Northern California, that if you beat up somebody, you put hands on another Norteño, you shoot, stab, you name it. So it's like they're not allowing homies to be homies. They're not allowing men to be men. So he disrespects me, and I just like the Gangsta Gucci situation, and Big Mister just hiding behind the Norteño label. You put hands on this dude because he disrespects you, you're done. They don't want it at all, period. They're pretty much describing it in the filter like, if you do any of these things without our permission, it's going to go down. But yet, they're doing physical discipline in neighborhoods, though. So a Norteño regiment could say, you know what, you messed up. We're gonna have the homies put hands on you. And then you're gonna pay a fine, which we were doing in 2005, which we were doing before 2005, and we used to get investigated for that. But we're looking at it like, bro, kick him out of the hood or just beat him up real quick. So obviously the NF is frowning upon red on red crime, which they address, which they continue to address, which they've been addressing forever. It's not gonna stop. It's really not gonna stop. Men are gonna be men on the streets, bro. When prison politics, okay, then yeah, I can't pick up a banger and stab him. But on the streets, you know, people get drunk, have an exchange of words, and they duke it out. Sometimes people got drunk, fought their homies, and the next day they were best friends. Like, bro, sometimes it doesn't get out of control, but when it does, that's when you can intervene. But it's like you're stopping your own manpower from being men. With all these new filters, these new regulations, these new policies, whatever's going on in the penal system, you're not allowing these guys to be who they are. And they're so worried about what they do next can get them hurt. They don't know how to react. They're not going to know how to react to certain situations, and they're going to freeze up, and it's going to get a lot more people hurt because you're too busy dictating what they can and can't do, like going to the stairs. And last but not least, they said these PC Norteños are putting out false claims that you can buy your way back. Obviously, I'm not the only one that's ever talked about that. There's been numerous cases and numerous videos on YouTube that have shed a light during a lot of situations. A lot of subscribers and a lot of people that watch our channels came forward like, yeah, my homie bought his way back. My homie got fined for liking your video and being on YouTube. My brother just got DP'd for doing a YouTube interview. So on and so forth. I just told you about 10 Northern Riders that got embraced back into the fold. Bulldogs are getting embraced back to the fold. What's the difference? They just don't want nobody to believe that everything's a monetary gain. They're saying that the bonds and format is the only way that you can bring yourself back into the fold, but that nobody in the history of Norteño history and the NF Constitution and history of itself, written by John Adams and everybody else of the founding fathers, that there's no way nobody's ever bought their way back into the fold and back into the movement. Which we all know is a lie, but you can't take it from me since obviously they said I'm a PC Norteño that's giving out false information. I looked at this filter like a lot of it was damage control, which I do understand. They don't want none of our YouTube channels to be paid attention to. They don't want the manpower looking up to the YouTube channels and not them. So it's their way to get everybody back into, you know, what they're supposed to be doing and what they're supposed to be paying attention to. Which we all know YouTube's a big thing. Everybody watches YouTube. But here's my thing. If it was that much of a big concern and worry that you had to put out a filter addressing YouTubers and labeling us PC Norteños, first of all, you could have just called me a PC, not a Norteño, but for you to identify me as that, it's going to cause the manpower to come say, you know what, even for those that haven't watched, which a lot of people do watch, even though they can't stand me, they still watch, it's going to bring them to the channel. And for you to discredit it just tells me that what I'm saying has somewhat facts to it, if not all facts, but it's of much concern that you had to recorrect the manpower. If it wasn't true, you didn't have to tell them that. All you had to do is say, hey, bro, if any of you guys are caught watching these channels, it's Dean, bro. Don't pay attention to that stuff. But you had to address every specific issue that was mentioned, that's ever been mentioned on YouTube. Shows me that there's a lot of, what's that word I'm looking for? Validity. I want to say it's validity. That my channel and a lot of other channels have a lot of validity in what we're saying for it to be true, that you had to address every specific thing that you felt was false or claimed to be false. All these prison organizations, they're starting to notice that their true colors and they're revealing their own faces. You know, they're taking off the masks and showing who they really are. And they're starting to see that the manpower is starting to notice that because they trust us with this information to provide it publicly so other people can see it. And the audience and other people and the kids to see that what's really going on, how times have really changed. It went from being, a firm believers of great ideologies that sounded beautiful to the ear and to the mind to just one big political scandal and political corruption where people don't even know what to do no more. It's just people are afraid to let go because they don't want to see what's on the SNY side. Or they don't want to be in a position like I'm in where I'm looking over my shoulder and I had to move out of state to protect my family. I'm proud to say that I did. But it shouldn't be these prison organizations' concerns as to what we're talking about. Their biggest concern is what they're doing to their manpower, that their manpower stopped trusting them and started divulging information to us to reveal who these individuals really are. Why don't you regain your manpower's trust? That's what you should be focused on, regaining their trust instead of putting out a filter, telling them what to do, telling them what not to pay attention to, telling them not what to believe, and telling them that they need to get their acts together. No, the reason why they don't have their acts together and the reason why they're giving us information is because you lost the trust and faith in your own people, not us. So with that being said, like I always say, it's one life, one chance. When they got one chance to do this right, let's get it done. Peace.